Hey, welcome to the DVD Bunker. I'm Brian. It's Matt.
Hi, Brian.
How's it going?
Great, buddy.
Are you excited?
Oh, yes. Always love to distill my personal beliefs onto groups of people.
Spray your thoughts out and you know, with little care at the cost.
Like a cat in heat.
Usually on this show, we do one movie. It's usually something from my collection that I haven't watched in a long time, or, you know, I think deserves a little more attention from people. But this week we're doing one of our special top 10 episodes.
Oh, yes.
And it's top 10 action movies.
Which we should have just done top 50 or something.
Yeah, gonna be a lot of honorable mentions, I think, today.
Mostly honorable mentions. Let's just blow through our top 10.
And let's talk honorable mentions. Now, obviously, we talked about the different parameters we set during the horror episode. We do one entry per franchise, so you got to get tough on yourself. You can't fill this list with classic you have to pick between Die Hard and Die Hard 5. You can't have them both, Matt.
It would have been, I will tell you, every Rambo movie would have been on this list if that wasn't
tough.
a rule.
That's a tough one.
For me, anyway.
But also, we try to distill it because I think we're going to end up doing a top 10 kung fu list. So we tried to like take out movies that were not that action movies can't have martial arts in them, but like if they're focused around fighting or a tournament or something like that, probably something we'll save for kung fu. Also, everybody's got their own different opinions on what constitutes sci-fi, what constitutes fantasy. So if you have a movie on your action list and it's got some sci-fi fantasy in it, I'm not going to judge, but it just can't go on your sci-fi list or your fantasy list later. It's locked in. It's an action movie now, per your choice.
Yeah.
The only other personal thing I want to mention, I don't think I mentioned this during the horror episode. For me, when I do my list, only movies that are in the bunker are eligible.
Oh.
So only bunker actual things that I own are eligible for me. Now that doesn't go for you because that's not, this is more my thing.
But let's say there's no way a top 10 movie you wouldn't own physically anyway, right? So,
absolutely, yeah. I should
own
it,
movie,
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let's just go. I went through my collection and I had about 20 that I was trying to whittle down to 10. So I didn't have any problems with, but I just thought people should know that that's like part of the qualification.
Absolutely. So. But there's a time where you bought movies you really didn't even care for, so the ones you like,
or I had barely seen, I just thought were good. Oh yeah, definitely.
The ones you like should be here.
Right. The ones who are here earn their spot, I think. And the other thing I always want to throw out, disclaimer, this is a top 10 list. This is a personal opinion top 10 list. These are based on criteria. We're not saying these are the best. This is about nostalgia. It's about rewatchability. It's about, personal tastes, all that rolled up into it. So we're not trying to tell you that the movie you love isn't as good as these movies, but it's probably not. So I think we're ready to get started, right? We'll do our bottom 5, your bottom 5, my bottom 5, then we'll do 5 and 4, and then we'll like switch off for the top 3. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right.
Okay, so let's start it off. Number 10. And I will say I was thinking ahead for this a lot because you said we can only use one franchise. So there's franchises I'm like, I gotta fit it in here because I love these movies. I gotta think ahead. So that's how I work. Number 1, not one of those. Or number 10, Con Air. Con Air. The cast, the action, John Malkovich is maybe one of the most interesting bad guys, and he's maybe not even the most interesting bad guy in the movie.
Really high caliber talent in that cast too, and just like they hit that perfect pitch. I personally think it's better than Face Off. Like, not to spoil the lists or anything, but I do think like they're almost right at that same pitch, and I think Con Air hits the tone just a little bit better. They're both totally ridiculous though. I love when I think one of the coolest moments maybe in movie history is when Nicolas Cage walks through that bullet when the dude's shooting at him. He just doesn't flinch at all. His arm like shoulder blows off.
Yeah,
so
a great premise too, and just a great movie all around. Love it. And a movie where an awesome Cole Meany is like the 10th build person in it. So,
that whole
and
cast.
John Cusack too is like 10th build.
Exactly. So. I mean, Steve Buscemi, Ving Rhames, Dave Chappelle, Dan Trejo. I mean, I could go on and on and on with that one. I didn't even say John Cusack.
And Swamp Thing too.
Swamp Thing.
All right, number 9. Kind of a crossover, and I had to fit it in because there's going to be times where it's not my favorite. Captain America Civil War is my number 9.
Nice.
Almost 10 years of world universe building. culminates in what we loved about the Avengers. You know, they're fighting with each other. All our favorite guys are fighting with each other. I love them all so much. You get maybe the best Spider-Man we've ever seen in this. It's just amazing, and it also touches on a lot of you know, emotional notes of the Captain America stuff and just the whole, you know, Avengers team and stuff like that.
I mean, Captain America is by far the strongest trilogy we've seen so far, and even if Thor Ragnarok is like a perfect movie, the other two are so weak, it's never going to reach that level of all three. Civil War is actually probably my favorite MCU movie. I think it was really good. The way they introed new characters, but it made it organic to the story, the way they gave you bombastic comic book shit, but it also had a really tight story plot too. Like if you cut out the scene where Tony Stark goes to pick up Spider-Man and the airport, you would still have like an hour and 40-minute super tight action movie. So like, as far as I'm concerned, that shit's just super thick icing on a beautiful cake. You know?
And I'll eat it over and over again. Yeah. So one of my favorites, and I had to throw it in here. Number 8. Maybe one of the great masters of action that we haven't seen in a long time. Braveheart is my number 8.
Good one.
The action of that movie, Mel Gibson is so fucking good at action and just showing, like, you know, that was one of those movies where you see these battle scenes are like, Jesus Christ, you know, and just everything about it, how raw it was. Like, it really felt like you went back to this time period of just where people were living in shit, man, and people were shitty to each other. And I didn't know what prima noctra was before that movie.
That's
crazy
terrible.
Shit.
Yeah. Oh, I love Braveheart. I've seen Braveheart so many times. And the only reason it's not going to make my list is because I've got these very strict rules about what I thought my action list needed to have on it and what action movies were. It's probably gonna look for top 10 period pieces, top 10 historical dramas.
I'm gonna be screwed. Braveheart will be way up on the list. I'm gonna be like, shit, I should have saved that.
Luckily, it'll be on my list, and then you know you'll be able to you can honorable mention it. You know,
perfect. Number 7, the hardest of the series to narrow down, but I went with for this First Blood.
Hold on.
Punting?
Push. Okay. We gotta punt that one. We gotta punt First Blood.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't expecting that. Number 6 on my list, a last minute change. I bumped one out and I put this one back in. It does kind of fall more in the martial arts, but I had to put it in here. Kill Bill Volume 1. I
would have let you put Volume 1 and 2 as one
together
movie.
as one. Well, I might cheat there because I thought I'm going to use maybe one later. Fair enough. Just the fight in the restaurant or wherever they are with the crazy
the dojo. Well, I guess it's a restaurant, but it looks like a dojo.
Yeah, whatever it is. And just everything from the beginning when you don't really know what's happening, and just the
fight with her and Bernita Green at the house, the knife fight, and the whole bit with the daughter coming in and them standing trying to play it cool when they're all bloodied and beaten up.
It's so great, man.
That's a great movie. No, that's really good.
East meets West in the most
I thought about
way.
that, putting that on mine too, and I was like, you know what? It's tough. I don't know what I'm gonna do with Quentin Tarantino movies because, like, here's the thing: they don't just fall into any genre. You know what I mean? Like, what genre is Pulp Fiction? Is it a drama? Is it a comedy? Is it a crime movie? Is it an action movie?
That's true.
What is it?
You know what? That might be the one for the brackets where we just say this is the Tarantino universe. Put every great character against each other.
Yeah. I think we're gonna get into a bracket episode soon. I think that's what's gonna be more like for those like smaller, tighter franchises that are kind of their own thing. Coen Brothers movies, MCU movies, you know, Quentin Tarantino. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to save. I don't know because I got that. I was like some of my favorite movies, but I don't know where to put them.
It's true.
Number 10 for my list, 2003, The Rundown.
Oh!
Right? Okay, so if you people don't know, before The Rock was The Rock that we know him as now, he started out small. He did The Scorpion King, and then his second movie was an action movie. He started with Sean William Scott, directed by Peter Berg, and he plays a guy who has to like go down, and he's basically a bounty hunter, and he's go down and find this rich guy's son down in the Amazon, and they get into the buddy adventure. It is so good.
Yeah.
Great action, like great like hand-to-hand stuff, the way like the fight choreography. The Rock's got a thing about it in the movie about not using guns, so he's always doing cool disarms and bad guys led by Christopher Walken, but his henchmen all have whips. They're all like whip specific bad guys, which is so sweet. That's so great. And there's also a really tight little scene right at the beginning where he passes Arnold going to the club. Arnold Schwarzenegger, he's like going to the club and Arnold passes him, and they do a little like good luck. It was supposed to be this passing of the torch,
Yeah.
which did eventually happen, but I think they just were a little premature.
Oh, yeah.
This
Oh,
was
yeah, we gotta wait a
2003.
few
They were a
years.
little bit early. But this is one of those movies. Anytime anybody asks me a movie that you think should have a sequel that never got one, this would be like my number one. Do
Oh,
another
yeah.
rundown. The Rock's the biggest star on the planet. Peter Berg is still super popular, but he does all those Mark Wahlberg true story, sad American hero type movies. Like they're good. He does them really well, and he makes fine movies. But come on back, man. Give us another rundown.
And now that you've seen Sean William Scott and The Rock become so much better than they were, I think that's like a shoe-in for a great sequel. Yeah.
Okay, number 9.
Number 8.
Oh, no, I'm not number 9. We're still on number 9, right?
Sorry.
No!
I'm taking one of yours away. I need more, okay?
We're doing 9 and 11 now. 1997, Air Force One. So this might be one of my favorite Die Hard knockoffs, right?
Yeah,
this is where you take the guy in a blank and like extrapolate it to its fullest extent. And now we have the president in Air Force One, like one of the best settings for a movie of all time. Gary Oldman basically doing like a parody of Hans Gruber. He's like the most terroristy terrorist who ever was. Like, Harrison Ford, this is like the perfect role for him. I like to think that this is that Jack Ryan became president.
That's awesome.
Right? Because like it fits. CIA analyst Jack and multi-time world-saving hero. See, this is also how I sneak in talking about Jack Ryan movies without putting one on the list. Jack Ryan movies.
I like it.
But yeah, I knew some Harrison Ford was going to get on here somewhere. I wasn't sure how or when, but definitely I love Air Force One. Big fan.
Oh yeah, great movie. Great Harrison Ford movie too. A guy who's in already a ton of great
progressive because I had Glenn Close as the vice president.
Not quite. Yeah, we weren't quite there for
vice. Hey,
yeah,
we've everybody used to say how progressive it was when Morgan Freeman played the president. We've had a black president. We still haven't had a woman vice president. So technically, this is more progressive than Deep Impact.
Absolutely true. More.
All right, number 8. This is where I snuck a little kung fu on here. I cheated as well. I knew JC was going to get on my list. Mr. Jackie Chan, 1995, Rumble in the Bronx.
Oh, yes.
This is one of those like in the middle Jackie Chan movies. So there's enough action in it that I felt good about like it not making my martial arts list. He does some great martial arts in it, but there's also some incredible stunts. And this was like my first introduction. American Kid,
Same here.
And like seeing the behind the scenes shit at the end of the movie where they show him actually doing all his own stunts, that was like a revelation.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing him break his ankle and then do stunts with a broken ankle with a weird zip up boot over him.
Yep.
Oh man, it's so great. So yeah, I knew that one had to get on there,
Yeah, and he rode that all the way through the 90s, and I'm like you. I saw that movie. I saw the end, and I thought, I'm going to watch this guy in everything he's ever in. I'm going to go back and watch old stuff, and I have, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, it's so great. All right, number 7, 1991, Point Break.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's a good one.
I know. This was tough for me because there's an honorable mention. They got bumped because I was like, I can't. I'll explain it when we get there. But anyway, Point Break is an incredible movie, despite maybe one of the worst acting performances. I mean, from Keanu Reeves. Like, he's as bad in this as he is in Dracula, which is saying something. But it's so perfect for the tone of this movie. Like, and the fact that he's kind of a dumb jock playing a surfer. You can buy that he just isn't that articulate.
Yeah.
But Gary Busey and the Sways. And this is like, I don't know, like, I just think there's a couple movies that are peak Swayze, and this is definitely in the running to be maybe the best Swayze performance of all time.
Oh, yeah, it's in there. And let's not forget Andy Potts and
Lori Petty.
Lori Petty. Not Andy Potts, Lori Petty.
Awesome.
Calm down,
We got one!
Way different movie. And Flea and Anthony Kiedis, great
Absolutely.
cameo.
Tom Sizemore cameo as well in this one. Plus, is there a more 90s movie than like surfing, bank robbers, and like this movie's just so I don't know. It's great. Anthony Kiedis,
Yeah.
it's so
Oh,
good.
it's such a good movie.
This movie is to the extreme for sure.
Yeah, we didn't probably have Extreme. Point Break gave us the X.
We
didn't have the X until Point Break.
Extreme still had an E on it.
Yeah.
When Point Break came
like,
out,
fuck that.
they changed the world.
Yeah, man.
All right, number 6. This was a really hard one. This is one of those ones that I had to get on my list, and I couldn't think of another list it was gonna pop up on because it's kind of. So my number 6.
Hippie Longstocking.
Damn, you ruined it.
Sorry.
Jaws.
Oh shit! You're right.
I couldn't make it like a horror thriller. It's not scary enough. The front half is front loaded with a lot of suspense and tension, but I don't find it particularly scary. And then in the back half, it's like an adventure movie.
Yeah.
That really like bombastic, buoyant soundtrack when they're chasing the shark and everything. It's got some crazy shit in it, but I just couldn't think of anything. It's action to me. So I mean, but also then I was like, God damn, Jaws has been talked to death.
Yeah.
So instead of talking about how great Jaws is and the effects and less is more and the cast and yada yada, I want to talk about Spielberg for a minute. How long has it been since Spielberg made a great movie?
Great.
Like, what's the last great Spielberg movie you can remember?
I can't. I did really like what was it? Not 8mm. Whatever that was with the kids.
Oh yeah. Super 8.
Super 8, but I wouldn't call that great though.
He didn't even direct it.
that?
I think he produced it.
Yeah, I'd have to have the list in front of me to even see.
Well, I got a couple here that we can talk about. So these are some of what I would consider his biggest hits of the last like 15 years. Now, 2012, he had Lincoln, which I think is a really great movie, but I could see why, like, that doesn't, I don't know if that really counts. Historical drama, you know. Before that, in 2005, you had both Munich and War of the Worlds came out.
I would say probably people would consider Munich his last great movie then.
Okay, all right. I think Munich's a pretty good movie. I only seen it once, though, and it's one of those ones that, like, I saw it, I liked, but then I've heard so many people talk about how great it is, I feel like I need to go back to it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a huge fan of his War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Before that, 2002, he had Minority Report.
That's cool. I like that. It's not great,
solid,
though.
but not great.
Yeah.
And then I think this is my pick, the last great Spielberg movie, 1998, Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, geez.
Right.
And that
the last time he made an all-timer.
Yep.
You know.
And that was on my. That's an HM for me because I thought about
I
putting
didn't
that
put
in.
any war movies on. Again, that's a separate list. I feel like I need to do a list of war movies.
Okay, good.
Although I don't know if I own 10 war movies. I have to dig. All right, so that takes us to your number 5.
My number 5, James Cameron, 1992. I'm just doing years now because you are. Terminator 2 is my number 5.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna say about Terminator 2? The fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger is so amazing, and just the world building they do from the first Terminator, and the way that now that Sarah Connor, I almost said Sandra Day O'Connor.
Sandra Day O'Connor.
Sarah Connor is just like becomes this total badass, and the way they flip it and make him the good guy, maybe one of the best sequels ever made.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of those things. Like, my kid has known that Anakin Skywalker was Darth Vader since he was like 2. So there's no way to preserve that at this point. But I am going to preserve the reveal that Arnold is the good guy in T2. Let him watch Terminator, then put on T2. Because if you watch it without the previews and not knowing anything, they play it right down the middle to the point in that hallway when the cop and the Terminator are there, and you don't know. But if you watched a trailer for it, they ruined it because they wanted to sell the movie off the back of Arnold. So I'm going to preserve that for my son. That's one thing I can do. I can hold on to that.
I think that's brilliant. And I also believe, I hear people say, come with me. I think it was Alien. When he said, come with me, I thought myself, why didn't he say, come with me if you want to live? You should say that anytime you can say it.
Everybody says it.
I don't get mad when people take that line because that line's, the other stuff in that movie they use a lot is whatever. Number 4, True Lies.
Push.
That was what I knew was going to be a push.
All right. So that makes my number 5, and it's a push from earlier with you, First Blood. So now we can talk First Blood. Go ahead. You go first because you brought it up.
For me, and I'll say briefly, I had First Blood Part 2 chosen because I grew up on First Blood Part 2. I didn't care about First Blood. The action for me in that is better, but you don't get the who's who of John Rambo that you get from First Blood, and just like, and coming from like an area that we come from where this is kind of shit that could happen, where like a drifter comes through town and people give him shit. That's why, and it's just fucking top to bottom excellent, man. Yeah,
well, and I think, the series kind of becomes a parody of itself in the sequels. Like, I agree that the action is bigger in the but it means more in First Blood. Dennehy may be one of the worst villains in movie history. So despicable. in his realness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That guy fucking exists in a lot of small towns.
Oh,
To
yeah.
this day,
Oh, yeah.
that guy is the sheriff of a lot of small
Absolutely
towns.
true.
You got David Caruso sneaking in there, Krenna, and shout out just to the scene where he takes down those local cops out in the woods, and when he's got that, he's like, stop, like, I'm giving you a chance. I could have killed all your men, and I didn't. Stop. And he still doesn't, and he still pushes him. It's unreal, man. But yeah, and an incredible emotional performance from Stallone too, like, which
He's
is kind
so
of what
good.
I think hurts the sequels, because it's so kind of silly, and then like it's played so much for melodrama in those ones where it's like,
Yeah.
nah, I don't feel it like I did in first one.
Yeah.
Those are fun action movies. I'm not trying to take away from the Rambos, especially the fourth one. God damn, that was a gruesome one,
yeah,
right?
that was,
Holy
and that one was
crap.
one I thought about too, because
It's
the straight
not-
up
yeah, it's
gore
not
action
bad.
in that is crazy. There's some great
Absolutely.
Rambo moments, but yeah, you got to go back to the OG, and that's First Blood. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So my number 4 is another push. True Lies. We got to it. All right.
Killer.
So what do you got to say about True Lies?
I mean, the fact that Bill Paxton is like maybe the third funniest guy.
I know, right?
It's
This is the only movie I ever liked Tom Arnold in.
so good. Arnold's so good. Jamie Lee, I mean, the premise is amazing. You know, the bad guys are kind of, you know, whatever, but just everything is so good. And you know, I think the best bad guy is maybe that guy that's doing the sodium pentothal on him and stuff like that. And that whole scene is just amazing. Like being under, you know, duress. And,
I mean, to have the Terminator movies exist and still have this in the running as maybe the best Cameron Arnold collaboration is saying something. They made like 3 all-time classic action movies. So you got to give them out props. Tia Carrere, got to shout out Tia Carrere.
yeah.
Like 90s hottie Tia Carrere. Yeah, I wrote the same thing you had. The premise, so great. And also kind of brought Jamie Lee Curtis back.
Yeah.
Where nobody really realized that, man, she's smoking hot, but
Oh,
also
yeah.
plays like silly and funny and awkward in it. But yeah, come on, Paxton steals the show.
Oh, yeah,
He's
great.
so great in this. As, you know, maybe the top 10 movie scumbag of all time.
And he's just
great.
such a small role, and he
It
does
is.
so good
Oh,
at it.
but it's so pivotal to the story to kind of like teaching Arnold about like you know what his wife was looking for, but also like oh man, I almost drove my wife to do something like this.
With this complete douche.
Oh, I love the trailer he takes her to. It's so great. All right, so now we're doing our alternating. So number 3.
Number 3 for me, one that is, it has its action, but I know this is gonna, every one of these is, well, not every one of the series is gonna make it. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It's my
That's
number
mine.
3.
That's it's not a push because I knew you would have it on there. At least that or Raiders, and I was like, thank goodness. Phew. Last Crusade would have been my pick too. I actually think it's the strongest of the franchise.
And that movie, it came out in what, 1989?
89, yeah.
I'm 7 years old. I mean, it's like so much of what I love today. So much of what I studied in college and things like that were because of like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And just like I always talk about how I'm obsessed with, you know, I'm not a religious guy by any means, but I'm obsessed with this like good versus evil and these artifacts of those times, and are they real? And I just love it. And I mean, Sean Connery, fucking amazing.
Adding a character like that is risky sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, it can be kind of a like, you know, like a publicity stunt casting, you know what I mean? Like you can screw up your movie by putting a star in who doesn't fit. So incredible.
Yeah.
He's so good. And as a kid, like you said, we were young, introduced me to Sean Connery,
Oh,
basically.
yeah.
Like I didn't know
Absolutely.
Sean Connery before Indiana Jones Last Crusade. And yeah, I just think it's really, really great. And for a franchise to close so strongly on the 3rd entry for a while.
For what should have been. Well, it's not done yet. We can't.
Yeah, they got
say,
time.
they're still making them.
Hey, remember we all used to hate Rocky 5, but then Rocky Balboa came out, and
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like, oh, Rocky 5's just another. It was a low point, but it's not. As long as it's not the end of the franchise, and you have to end on that note, you're good to go.
Are you okay with them saying goodbye to Harrison Ford and just making
Oh,
Shia LaBeouf?
I'm pretty
Indiana
sure that his whole thing now is just going to be to kill off all his classic characters.
Yeah.
He's gonna die in Blade Runner. He's gonna die in Indiana Jones. He's gonna come back and do a Fugitive sequel and die. He's gonna do a Witness sequel and die.
I killed my wife. I killed her.
I killed her. Electric chair.
Yeah, that's the end of it. It's like Green Mile.
I think he's just so done with being a celebrity. He's like, anything that could possibly bring me back for, I'll come back, but I have to die.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. This is it, guys.
This is it. You get one more. No, actually, I would be fine with them passing the torch. You know what I mean? It's like I'm trying to get away from that thing where I'm hung up on the preciousness of these characters.
Yeah.
I just struggled with it because recently we had the Hellboy announcement that they're not doing Guillermo del Toro's Hellboy 3 with Ron Perlman. They're doing a lower budget,
Saw that.
R-rated. David Harbour's gonna start, which I like him. I like the director they chose. I had to like reconcile my disappointment that I'm not getting the thing I want with, but I should enjoy the thing they're giving me on its own merits.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the way I feel about, we did AVP a couple weeks ago, and Covenant just came out. It's like people get so hung up on what they want a movie to be, they don't take time to watch it for what it is. And like,
absolutely true.
That's the filmmaker's vision. He's giving. It's not yours to make. It's his to make. And like, it's fine to disagree and fine to have opinions, but I'm just saying, like, don't let it ruin it because it just wasn't the thing you had in your head.
Yeah.
He's not beholden to your brain.
Absolutely true. And I think there's a good Indiana Jones stories to tell. And there have been, because I thought Young Indiana Jones, the television show, had some good moments and stuff like that. It is a bummer. I always think about we lost River Phoenix so young, and I really think he could have, not that was a thing, but.
And like the problems with Crystal Skull, my problems with Crystal Skull didn't have to do with the fact that it had aliens in it.
Yeah.
I was fine with that because I'm like, you did religious, then you did kind of like mystical, then you did religious again. I don't want you to do religious a third. 3 out of 4 of your movies all around religious artifacts would be kind of boring.
Yeah.
I was fine with them getting into something different and something weird and it being aliens. I get the idea that like when it was the 40s, it was about the serials. Now you're in the 50s and you're doing the sci-fi movies. I'm fine with that, but it's just like that movie had problems outside of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Refrigerator just do not survive nukes. Maybe they do. I don't know.
Fact check that
I don't know.
in the comments below. Tell Matt he's wrong. So is that my number 3?
Yeah.
All right, 1989, Roadhouse.
Oh, yes.
This is the maximum overdrive of my action list. Where just
it's good.
They're both good. Except where just like pure love and nostalgia has just driven it to the top. I mean, we already talked about the Swayze. I feel like this is the precursor to Bodhi. He's a spiritual guy. He's a philosophy. He's got a master's in philosophy, but he kicks ass for a living. Bodhi was this like, spiritual, like live for the moment kind of. I feel like this is definitely, Dalton is definitely the precursor to that. Got that great kung fu movie kind of structure where guy comes to town just to do a job. I'm not gonna get involved with the locals, and then of course he gets drawn in.
Yeah.
Sam Elliott, maybe even cooler than Pat Swayze in this.
He's
so
fucking cool.
Oh my god, he's so great. And Ben Gazzara too, great villain. Only qualm I have is at the end they try to make you think Ben Gazzara could go toe to toe with Dalton. And I mean, I get Dalton's hurt and stuff, and he's but still, he should have just beat that old man's ass real quick.
We saw the final fight. And I will say, I'm a little upset now because none of my movies have a throat rip. And, man, that really, it does kind of cheat a little.
That's a burn,
it sucks.
yeah.
So we might just have to call my list bullshit now. Zero throat rips.
Zero throat rips.
I think Captain America Civil War could have done with a good throat rip.
He's got that metal arm. He could really rip a throat with that
absolutely.
thing.
Or put, what's a Panther? He's got those
the claws.
Definitely good for throat ripping. Okay, my number 2. We're getting down to, this is another one that I fucking went back and forth between another movie in the series. But I had to go with the newer one, Fury Road. Mad Max Fury Road.
That's a push, but it's the push. I have Fury Road at number 2 also.
Right, killer. Fury Road. I mean, Jesus, the practical fucking effects in this movie. How did nobody die when they made this?
No,
anyway, I was gonna say.
died.
I didn't want to say. How did nobody die? And people were like, yeah, like 10 people died.
Everybody
in that
died.
movie.
All of Circus Olay had to recast.
And one of my favorite bits of trivia was that since I can't think of his name, who's the guy that plays Mad Max?
Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy's a method actor, so he just was method Mad Max the whole time, and everybody fucking hated him because he's just walking around being a
all
dick,
grim and
just being like a guy who has like, and it's just. Oh my god! Everything about that movie is awesome. A fucking guy on chains playing the
guitar. Oh,
they gave that guy a backstory.
And I was not a fan. I'm not a Mad Max guy. Never watched any of the Mad Max movies. Total blind spot in my movie watching history, and walked into this and was just blown away. Not just the effects and the stunts, but the color palette in it. Like the movie looks incredible too. Like it's so beautiful. Charlize Theron, you cannot like deny her action status
Cool.
now. Like she's
No.
full on. She's gonna be the Liam Neeson of female actors.
I
who
hope
like
you're right.
has a whole second career being an action star. Atomic Blonde isn't out when this is, but it's gonna be awesome. I'm already calling it. Atomic
You can
Blonde's gonna
tell
be
that
great.
it's gonna be. Yeah, I agree. Just the action shots alone, you know that's gonna be fun.
It's just so simple and straightforward action movie, but like it just is a freight train. Forward momentum 100% of the time. And it's great. It's so good.
I really just want to stop and watch it right now. And I love that too. You stepped on a point that I really wanted to make too, and that's perfect. Is that was a criticism, was like all they do is drive out and then drive back. That's why this movie's so fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You don't need to have any
and
plot.
all the story is wrapped up in that. You know what I mean? And I'll tell you what, one of my favorite things is when they meet up with that granny motorcycle gang. Those old ladies are the best.
Yeah.
Like people bitch about this being a female empowerment movie. I hope my grandma's as cool as the ladies in this movie. Like you fucking men's rights activists make me sick, man. Like, I hate that shit.
And a super interesting villain, super interesting world. I just want to know so much more about it, and I will say that I did grow up with Mad Max. Road Warrior was the other one, of my favorite.
Second one.
This is, like I say, this is when we talk about AVP. I mean, this finished me off from my childhood, like the boner I got from Road Warrior. So God bless him for fucking trying for 40 years to make this movie and finally getting it done.
Hell yeah, he did.
Well done.
I did want to take a minute here to talk about something that I noticed about both of our lists. Not a ton of action after the year 2000 on our list.
No. Not
a lot. And I think I nailed down a little bit. First of all, it's all about when movies hit you. A lot of the stuff we talked about, like nostalgia, your favorite movies are stuff that you just grow up with and you learn to love. There will be some more modern stuff in my honorable mentions. Also, though, a lot of the really good action in the last 15 years is sci-fi, fantasy, and comic book movies.
You're right.
And all of those are going to be separate lists for me.
Absolutely.
So a lot of and I don't get into the modern action franchises, like the biggest one that everybody's going to say is Fast and Furious. That's not my bag. I'm just not a fan. You know what I mean? It's not nothing personal.
True.
I get you love them. That's some people's Star Wars, and I get it. I'm glad it exists for the people it exists for. That's the way I always felt about like the Twilight movies. People used to rag on the Twilight movies. I'm like, they're not for me.
No,
they're for your teen daughter, and if she likes them, who am I to judge? I don't care. Like, just let her have the thing she likes. Or if it's your 40-year-old mom creaming in the seats too, whatever. Whoever likes Twilight should get to like it.
They should get as much of it as they want. They should get just as much as we get of superheroes. Yeah.
All right, so number one. I'm worried about what your number one's going to be because I feel like if it's not what I think it's going to be, we're going to take some real heat.
Well, it's not going to be what you think it's going to be.
Oh, man. We're in trouble.
This movie is the movie that made me want to watch movies. In the year of 1999, I saw two movies that made me want to watch movies forever and ever and do nothing else. The Matrix is to me the greatest action movie. It could go at the top of my sci-fi list probably, maybe even my martial arts list. They do say kung fu, and they are in a dojo. But I mean, everything I love about science fiction and about movie making. I mean, now today, almost 20 years later, some of the special effects don't hold up as well. But
the first Matrix is still really solid. I'll stand up for the first Matrix for all time. It's a great concept. The action is used appropriately to propel the story. It's not just like stop and have an action set piece, stop and have an action set piece.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So no, I'm with you 100%. There's no reason the Matrix can't be number one.
And I just.
Great villain.
Agent Smith
introduced us to Hugo Weaving, and think how many movies he went on to be in. He's in everything now.
Love Hugo Weaving. When he first has that first conversation with Keanu Reeves, I'm not going to do it, but I can do it all verbatim and in a Hugo Weaving voice. That's not bad.
It's a 7 out of 10.
And everything that was, it's just such good sci-fi. And I think the reason that we hate the sequel so much is because the first was like, you couldn't get to that level. You know what I mean? Like, there's nowhere to go from there. There was nowhere to go from the first
and I mean,
one.
Let's be fair. The Wachowskis got up their own ass a little bit with the philosophy aspect of it. I like that was there, but they got a little handy with it. You know what I mean?
You're absolutely right.
And I don't hate the Matrix sequels as much as everybody else. I have rewatched them in the last couple of years, and they didn't hold up great. The action does, though. Some of the action set pieces taken away by themselves. The highway scene in the second one
is
incredible.
second one starts off fucking hot.
Yeah, agreed. So Yeah, no, I have no problem. Now, I think we need to address
That
something.
I know your number one is not obviously not Die Hard.
It's not. It's not. And that means we have 2 top 10 lists. So we have a double-edged sword here because, for one thing, we're very on the cutting edge. We're contrarian. You know, everybody's going to expect a Die Hard on here. In fact, I might even have Austin put Die Hard in the
that's
the header
good to not be on the
not
list.
put on the list because it's almost worth it to do that. I think it comes down to the fact that Die Hard could be on either of our lists easily, no problem. And probably should have been, but I personally almost couldn't decide between Die Hard and Die Hard with a Vengeance was part of it. And yeah, it's almost too iconic. It like transcends the list now, and it's like on its own. So sorry, Die Hard. And sorry, fans of Die Hard who are gonna crucify us in the comments.
Well, I love Die Hard, but I don't love it as much as like 20 other action movies. Like
it's an all-timer. It's a classic. It changed the game. Just didn't make the list.
Yeah, didn't make the list. Sorry, but okay. So now I'm excited. Is this
my
going to be a
number
movie
one?
I've never heard of? Like the
No,
last one?
it won't be. It won't be one you ever heard of.
Oh yeah.
So in 1995, a movie came out, and it was called Desperado. I know nobody's gonna see this shit coming, but this movie is like one of my all-timer. I couldn't help it. I'm sitting here looking and I had it on my list and I'm like, I think that might be my favorite action movie of all time.
It's fucking good.
Start with the intro with Buscemi in the bar telling the story, the legend. So you got an amazing action set piece there while he's telling. You have Buscemi's great storytelling intercut with this like over-the-top action set piece. Then you get the introduction of the world. You have Quentin Tarantino and his filthy jokes. It gave us Salma Hayek. The gunplay in this scene. I didn't grow up with John Woo movies. I didn't see John Woo movies till after, like 95, 96, 97. That's when Broken Arrow and Face Off and that shit was coming out. So I didn't realize that Robert Rodriguez has taken influence from that. I just saw Desperado and it was like, holy shit. And the gunfights, and then his friends show up with the crazy guitar case guns. And I mean, I don't know. It just strikes me right. I could sit down, I could watch it any day.
So good. Definitely the best of the trilogy.
I like the Mexico trilogy. I do like the Mexico trilogy. I like it's got that Evil Dead thing where El Mariachi is almost like a really hyper low budget version of Desperado, and then Desperado's like the movie he wanted to make, kind of. And then Once Upon a Time in Mexico is like the real kind of over the top third part, which is like his Army of Darkness almost.
Absolutely true. I will say the only thing on this list that could beat a throat rip is guitar case rocket launcher. With the guitar case rocket launcher, you are required.
You gotta kick that leg out.
Way the fuck out there. Because
leverage.
The kickback on those guitar cases is not like a regular rocket launcher.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. And
great one.
Also, the should be shouted out the villain in that one, Joaquin de Almeida, I think is his name. Great villain.
Oh yeah, great stuff. I will say, I thought about. Not number one, but it was definitely an honorable mention. I thought about Desperado. I was like, damn, that part with the fucking when his buddies show up is so good.
The guitar sting when they all walk out together.
Oh yeah.
Like you see Antonio by himself first, and there's like, and then the guys walk in from the side, each one, and nobody talks. They just nod. Oh,
never have we gotten better shit from two guys drinking and smoking pot together than Tarantino and Rodriguez.
That's true. Agreed.
Like, all the shit those guys probably came up with just shooting the shit that they used.
Yeah, talk
in
about
their own movies and each other's.
Like for our generation, those two guys and Kevin Smith are like the kind of epitome of the 90s film brain. Like the people who came up just a little ahead of us, or a little bit older than us, but like grew up just in love with film. That's what they became. Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino, and then to a lesser extent, I would say Kevin Smith too.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So wow, shocker, right?
Good one. No, I when you said you were worried, I was like, well, you said something before. I was like, I know Die Hard's on his list.
I had a hard time. I couldn't do it. That's rough. Okay. All right, so let's do honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Geez, I will say last minute audible. I took off Gladiator was on my list, and I took off for Kill Bill.
You got period pieces. You got dramas,
exactly.
You know,
exactly. It's kind of a drama, and I will say like the action is. That's why I took it off. The action in that movie isn't what made it awesome to me. It was everything as a whole. Just a great film all around. Bunker Choice, Long Kiss Goodnight is a fucking great action movie.
So
I thought about putting on my list. Newer ones, Expendables and John Wick were
and John Wick both on my honorable mentions too.
And one that also might make a list later that's not as well, Total Recall's one. I didn't want to put too much Arnold on there, and also The Professional, which is kind of more of a drama,
so
but it has some
good.
great action
It
too.
does.
So those were my HMs.
Yeah, a lot of stuff that you're wondering why it's not on this list is gonna show up on my sci-fi list. My sci-fi top 10 will read like a all-time top 10 action sci-fi
Yeah.
list. It's gonna have all the ones that you think are missing from here, more than likely.
And your number one will not be a surprise by any means.
No. Am I gonna have to put Die Hard on there now to make up for this?
We'll have to figure out a way to link it to
How are
some
we gonna
sci-fi.
How are we gonna work Die Hard in?
You never know.
Top 10. Maybe we have to do a top 10 sequels of all time.
There you go.
We can at least get vengeance on
I
that
screwed
one.
myself with T2 then. You can take it then.
Other ones I had, Under Siege, another one of my favorite Die Hard knockoffs, and I think the best Seagal movie by far.
Yep. And we got that Christy Swanson payoff I'd waited for since
No,
Buffy too.
Erica Elenick.
Erica Lane, not
Mhm,
Christy
not
Swanson.
Christy
Well, then,
Swanson.
shit, I thought that was Christy Swanson
Nope,
all
that's
those
Erica
years.
Elenick.
Damn it. My whole life's a lie.
Life's a lie. I can't take back those jerk off sessions now.
Oh, I hate to call a girl by the wrong name.
Christy. Another honorable mention for me, Red Dawn.
Oh my god.
I mean, if you've never seen Red Dawn, Russia takes over America and some kids run off to the woods and fight the Russians. And I'm not talking about the crappy remake. I'm talking about the original Swayze classic. The one that got bumped when I put Point Break on, but it's going to make my honorable mentions, Hot Fuzz. I was like, because I don't think it can make my comedy list over like Shaun of the Dead. You know, if I'm going to pick one of the Cornetto trilogy to make my comedy list. So I was going to try to get it on action because I love Hot Fuzz. It's so good. But how do you put Hot Fuzz on and not put Point Break on? It's really like a tribute, you know?
That's
so
true.
You can't put a cover song on your top 10 list. Let's see. The Fugitive, another one we mentioned a little bit. Taken. The first Taken.
Yeah, I thought about that
it
too.
spawned some terrible goddamn sequels, but it gave us John Wick. There'd be no John Wick without Taken. And I think, and again, I had John Wick and Expendables. The Expendables is my Fast and the Furious.
Oh, another one I just thought of too. Expendables is a great one. Equilibrium, another great action movie.
Equilibrium definitely sci-fi. Definitely could go in sci-fi for sure. That's like a Fahrenheit 451.
You made me think of with Taken. Love the bad guy. This one made me think of Equilibrium, where you get the bad guy just gets wasted at the end, like the final bad guy kills him instantly. So great movie.
And so our last time we did a switch where you took something off, we both took something off our list and replaced it with something from the other person's list. What I want you to do this week, pick a rank, what on your list, you don't get to rearrange your list, you have to take a movie off and put in Die Hard. You can pick any movie in your top 10, you can put Die Hard in at any level. We all know it should have been on the list, so let's decide where it should have gone.
All right, I'm gonna take off, and I chose which one I'm gonna take off. So thanks for giving me, because I was kind of scrambling to think what I was gonna put in place. I'm gonna take off Civil War and put in Die Hard, just because it kind of fits in a lot of other categories. Not, I mean, Die Hard probably is a better movie than Captain America: Civil War, but God, I love it so much.
Yeah, you have to apologize.
Well, no, you're right. Within the rules, I'm forced to remove Captain America.
That's right. Now it's eligible for your top 10.
I'd love to see.
Movies list.
I don't understand, and I've said this before. I don't understand why John McClane can't just be in the Marvel universe. Why can't we just bring him in? I know nobody wants to work with that guy, but I mean, let's just reboot John McClane, put him in. He's a superhero.
Let's see. What am I gonna? Okay. I think it's funny because I think I'm taking the same ranking. I think I'm gonna replace Air Force One with Die Hard.
Okay.
Because like I said, I like that Air Force One extrapolates that Die Hard idea of the man in the in one building or in one setting, and like so to pay tribute, and because I do believe that it probably should have made our list somewhere. That's what I'll do. I'll take Air Force One off and replace it. So it's funny. It came in at number 9 for both of us. So even when we were forced to put it on, it didn't even crack the top 5.
And also an apt replacement, because isn't like the first line of Die Hard like Are You Afraid of Flying, or First Time Flying, or something? So nice.
You got the connection.
Yeah.
It's a stretch.
Both movies have airplanes. Same
Are we
thing.
talking about Die Hard 2 now? All right, so I think that's it. That was pretty good, pretty solid top 10 list. I think we had some surprises in there. I've been a little lazy, and I want to make sure this week. Thank you to Jeannine. All the shirt designs, the design of the DVD Bunker logo, all her help. Austin every single week with the banners.
Looks awesome.
I always I was really good about it, and I think I fell off a little bit. I want to make sure that dude helps us out every week, and he's awesome. And Ron for the music, man.
Oh,
Always
yeah.
remember Ron's music at the beginning and end. We love it.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, 100%. Well, he'll
Multi-time
be
guest.
back, I'm sure.
Oh,
Multi-time
yes.
guest, and we'll have him back. Subscribe to the TUFF channel. Leave comments on the videos. I do come back and check them and read them. Give us a thumbs up. And definitely check us out on Twitter at Hercules.
At the Drunksman.
Hashtag DVD Bunker if you want to talk about any movies on this list. Tell me how stupid I am for leaving things off my list. Whatever. I love conversation. I love discussion. Aside from that, I think we're good to go, man.
No, adios, everybody. Thanks.
Oh, and when this comes out, are we in Philly?
Yeah.
We might be in Philly right now. So if you're around Philly, come to Philly.
Yeah, come visit us.
Come visit us in Philly.
Worldcon? Is that where we are? We're
Yeah,
not just
Wizard
going
World.
for
Wizard World Comic Con.
Okay.
Wizard World is in. They're having their Comic Con in Philly the weekend this comes out. I think, hopefully,
Perfect.
and we'll be there. So,
All right. Adios.